Welcome, my beautiful real estate entrepreneurs, to the Brent Daniels Real Estate Investing Live Show. We've got an unbelievable lineup today. We've got the cowboy closer, Clifford Walker. We've got Nicholas Nick, who owns Lead Mining Pros. He's going to break down all of the things that he does. It's absolutely incredible. Got Micah Nichols. We've got Rafael Cortez. We've got Matt Camp with DealMachine. It's going to be absolutely bananas. We're going to be talking about what are the best lists to go after for motivated sellers right now in this time in 2024. But I wanted to start with this. This is absolutely critical to understand. There's only four real levers, four real knobs that you can turn to be able to increase your income. Not only increase the top line, but really increase the bottom line. Because when we look at this business, it's very easy to spend a lot of money. It's very easy to have a lot of overhead. It's very easy to feed our ego. Trust me, I am the absolute master of it, or at least I was. Until I, had to lose everything to figure it out. But look at these four factors here that really matter when it comes to making sure that you're making as much as possible or increasing as much as possible in your business. Number one is more leads. Pretty simple, right? You need more leads. The more conversations that you or your company has with property owners, the more income you will make. That is an absolute fact. This is pillar stuff. This is stuff that does not change, right? I think that we can all agree the more people you talk to, the luckier you are, right? The more you make, the more impact that you can have in your marketplace, in your community. Literally the communities that you're working in, the neighborhoods that you're working in, right? But look at this. If you look at outbound versus inbound, typically outbound is about a 1 and 70. You need 70 leads to close one deal when it comes to outbound. That's texting, that's door knocking, that's cold calling. All right. But this is where we start. If we don't have a huge budget, then we have to use the only budget we have, which is our time, our enthusiasm, our energy, and our attention. That's how we start building the momentum to be able to get inbound leads. Inbound on the high end, I put this on the high end, is about 1 in 20. You can bring that down, and that leads us to number 2 is higher conversion percentage. The better we are, the more skills that we have at converting the conversations into approved agreements, as Jerry Norton, my good friend Jerry Norton would say. We don't say signed contracts, we say approved agreements. The better that we are at closing, the more money we're going to make, right? That's just an absolute fact. If somebody's going out there and they're trying to compete with us, but we've really focused on our skills, we've really focused on our ability to pre-qualify, do our lead follow-up, get on that appointment as fast as possible, and get that agreement approved, that's how you build momentum in your business. That's how you take the 1 in 70 leads to 1 in 50 leads. That's where you go 1 in 20 leads to 1 in 10 leads when it comes to inbound, outbound, and inbound. All right. Hope this is all making sense. I'm sure it is. You guys are brilliant. You guys are powerful. You guys are going to go out and find amazing, massive deals this week. Amazing, massive deals. That's what we're talking about on this show. All right. Number 3 is make more per deal. Fact is, the more that you make per deal, the more top line, the more bottom line, typically, as long as you don't get crazy, right? And so what does that mean? If you are there's two paths here, guys. I'm telling you, there's 2 paths to take here. You go into a bunch of different markets and you stay with one marketing channel and you keep it really, really, really tight, and you do deals virtually, and that is your business, right? Or you stay local or in one market and you do multiple marketing channels as you build each one up, right? Remember, in marketing, you want to go deep and then you go wide. So make sure that you master each one of the lead generation techniques that you're going to use, or marketing techniques that you're going to use before you go to wide with it, before you add too many to it, because that just turns into a mess. If you want to talk to a wholesaler or a flipper or a real estate entrepreneur that is doing nothing, they're door knocking, they're cold calling, they're sending text message, they're buying PPL, they're doing all these things, but they haven't mastered any of them. Okay. So make sure that you go deep before you go wide with your marketing. But what that means is if you're going to stay in a specific market, if you've picked a market and you're not going nationwide, here's a point that I'm trying to make in a really roundabout way, is you need to have multiple exit strategies. You need to get a real estate license yourself or on your team so that you can refer retail leads to real estate agents for a 50-50 commission split. That's just a no-brainer. That'll basically at some point hopefully pay for all of your marketing expenses, and those are just free. Those are just extra leads, right? Wholesale, assign them. Novation, if it comes down to it. Flip when you're ready. Buy and hold for long-term wealth gain. All of those strategies need to come into play eventually into your business. I usually see that in year 3 of a business, but year 1, for the first 12 months, you want to solely focus on assigning your deals, wholesale everything, build your cash machine, build the system that's going to find you the absolute best deals. All right. Awesome. And the last one is get more out of every lead. Get more out of everybody that's in your database. I'll give you an example. Yesterday, Ryan Thornton, my acquisition manager, got a text message, jumped on the phone with a property owner that we bought their house early in the spring. I think it was March. And they now have a family member that's in the same position and wants to sell quickly, cash as is, has an older property built in the 1950s. It's kind of been renovated here and there, but it's going to need a complete renovation, for a complete updating. And so there we are. We didn't pay extra for that lead. We just, because Ryan had a great relationship with that previous owner and they talk about once a month, he was able to get that opportunity. He goes on that appointment Friday. Not my favorite. I wish he would have gone out yesterday, but they're not in town. So I get it. So he's going to go out Friday. He's going to get that locked up, and hopefully it'll be a $30,000, $40,000 deal off of just following up. So you get more out of the prospects that you have by doing multiple transactions. If you look at the lifetime value of the typical seller in our life, it's about $15,000, right? That's the average wholesale fee. It's about $15,000. If you're doing flips, it should be double that. If you're doing novations, it should be, probably 25,000. But can you get more from getting referrals from those people? That's the key. So there's the 4 steps, guys. We either go more leads, right? And by the way, we're working on all this all the time. That's the exciting thing about being an entrepreneur, is we're constantly working on this. We're constantly building this up. And typically, as we go to that next phase in our business, it's all about more leads because our conversion's tight. We've got the exit strategies down. I've been doing this 20 years. We know what bucket to put each lead in, right? The whole team does. And we're going out. We could do a better job, honestly, in my business with the referral database. But a lot of you guys are building great relationships with real estate agents, other wholesalers, other investors that are bringing you multiple deals every single year. So to help with that, I've got an incredible video on this channel. Don't go now. Stick with us because we've got an unbelievable show. But it's called, what is it, Luke? Get 10 free deals this year. It's maybe a couple months ago, and it's all about being loud on Facebook to build up your referral database. Make sure that you see that and go through that. All right. Now, we're standing up today. We've got great enthusiasm. Wearing the old school TTP shirt. Man, I'm feeling good. Let's get into these lists. All right. Let's get into what are the top lists that are working this year, 2024. I'm not even doing the, number 10 is this, number 9 is this, number 8. We're going to just get right into it because I want you guys to start implementing this in your business right away. I want to start with, we're going to go top to bottom. Doesn't matter. Number 1, guys, and I'm going to share this with you, is US lead list. I've talked about it every show, and there's a reason I talk about it every show, and that is because it is the number 1 list in the Rhino tribe. So in Wholesaling Inc., my coaching and mentorship company, we've got different sources of generating leads. And for everybody that's going out there being super proactive with either calls, texts, or direct mail, US Lead List is number one. US Lead List is absolutely bananas. These are people that have passed away that own real estate. And before they file a probate, before it goes to any kind of public filing that goes into all the other resources that we have in the real estate business, US Lead List gets it first. And I'm just telling you, you jump on, you build a relationship with people, you have a kind heart, you have a tremendous amount of empathy, you're reaching out to the pre-probates. It works. I am telling you, it's number one. I just had a support call last night. We had a call last night, and I think we had 3 that had just locked up a deal in the last 7 days just from this list. And it's really, really powerful. If it's available in your area, you have to get it. This is not a recommendation. This is a prescription. I am telling you, this is a no-brainer list. Micah Nichols gives you, I think, 2 years plus. We're going to have him on at the end of the show. 2 years plus of the data that he pulls that you get. It all comes skip trace for free. If you use the TTP code, because he knows that you're going to be serious and that you came from me. And the fact is, the people that watch this channel and are in the Rhino tribe do the most deals. It's not even close. That's not even a humble brag. That's just facts. But a lot of these companies take care of us because the people stick around for a long time because they do a lot of business. So US Lead List is absolutely a must-have there. All right, let's go back to our list here. Boom. All right, number 2 is driving for dollars. Guys, this is how I did my first million deals. $1 million in deals. I have not done 1 million deals. I don't know anybody that's done 1 million deals. But the first $1 million that I made wholesaling real estate was driving for dollars. I used to go out. I had a 2002 Lexus ES300. It was sand colored. My dad had given it to me. It had gone through a horrible hailstorm in 2010. I had no money to go and fix it up and change it up and whatever. The windows were busted out. Didn't matter. I had zero budget. But nobody's going to bail me out, right? So I had to do something. So I was just driving around. I knew that investors love buying in certain areas. So you go in areas where you know that investors like to buy. How do you know that? There's dumpsters in the front yards, right? You see renovations going on. You see the gentrification. That just means the new generations are coming into these houses that are typically made for first-time home buyers and or step up, right? And so I would go into areas, I would drive around, I would write down the addresses of the properties, and I would go back and I would try to do as much searching as I could. My brokerage had some skip tracing. I would have to individually skip trace and then call them up, hand dial them up, and have a conversation. And then DealMachine solved that problem in 2017. 2017, they started to they came out with their app. You literally download the app, you drive around, you can click on which addresses you want to go after, and it has all the contact information, all of it. You can even just send automated postcard to them every 6 weeks, right? You can do that type of thing. But I prefer that you just call them. It depends on what your schedule looks like, but just call them and see if they would consider an offer on their property. And at some point, the beautiful thing about the really, really rough looking properties in your area is they have to sell cash. They can't get conventional financing. The banks will not take a risk. Properties have to be a certain condition for banks to lend on, especially FHA, especially VA, especially some of these ones where the down payment is really low, so the risk is really high to the banks. Okay, and if you think that you could sell these properties and they get bank financing, that's what appraisers are for. Appraisers are there to go and list all the things wrong with the property. And they're going to be like, this does not qualify for this loan. So it has to sell cash, right? Has to sell cash. That's perfect. So these stay in our database forever until they sell to somebody. They stay in our database forever, because whether they're ready to sell today or they're ready to sell 3 years from now, they have to sell to a cash buyer or put significant investment into their property, significant capital, moolah, money, dinero, clams, cheddar into their property, and they don't have it. For the most part, they don't have it, or they probably already would have, right? So not only that, but DealMachine has, let me present this. Stop sharing that. DealMachine has, well, I'll get into that when I'm pulling these other lists, but let's get into, I'm going to get into Zillow now. These are free lists here that you can go after for the fixer-upper properties. Okay. And we've talked about this a little bit on the show, but if you go down here, I'm gonna get rid of this. I'm gonna go agent listed. Let me just clear this out because well, no, that's fine. If you go down here at the very bottom in Zillow, and you can put in all these. See how these pop up? Maybe it's not shown on yours. They will. But you've got as is, you've got handyman, you got TLC, needs TLC, fix, as is. All of these things you can type into Zillow and just apply it. And as is, whatever. Boom. Look at this. All right. So this is a perfect example. You look at this property, it's dated, it's been sitting on the market. They just had a price cut. It obviously says that they want to sell this property as is. It's got to be somewhere in here that it's mentioning that they want to sell it as is. It's been on 33 days on Zillow. You just start calling these people up. All right. And let me break this down. Let's go to the board real quick. Okay. And this is what I want you to do. When you're calling on market deals here, guys, this is really important. All right. Number one, ask if it's still available. Still available. These are the questions that I want you to go through. This is the process I want you to go through. When you call that list on Zillow, that's as is, handyman special, TLC, all those things, right? Is it still available? Any current offers being negotiated, right? This is what you want to ask. That's number one. Hey, Betty, this is Brent Daniels. I was calling about your property at 1212 Banana Street. I was just calling to see if it is still available. Yes. Are you negotiating any current offers? Do you have any reasonable offers that the seller's looking at right now? No, I don't. Okay, great. Right? Number two is, how flexible are they on that price? Right? How flexible are they on their current list price? Is there any wiggle room there? Well, I am the agent. I can't tell you that. All I can say is this is very typical. And with good agents that have been around, listen, if they're 50 years plus, like their age is 50 years plus, they're going to hit you with this. This is like how it was trained back in the 90s, right? Early 90s through 2000. It was always, they say, well, I can't tell you. I have fiduciary duty to my client, but if you'll submit a whatever offer, I'll negotiate it, right? I'll put it in front of it. I'll present it. There it is. I'll present your offer. Okay. But you're kind of seeing between the lines here. And right here is where you're going to use some skills of tone. Come on, Betty. What are we talking about here? Like, have they, and this is what I like doing, right? They go, are they flexible in the price? Well, I can't say that. Submit your offer and we'll present it. Okay, great. Can you tell me? I just don't want to waste your guys' time. And listen, I know you're going to sell this deal, but I'm just wondering, like, what offers have they rejected? Just so that I have some idea. So I'm not coming in here, I'm wasting your time, wasting your client's time. I just need to get some idea, right? Because typically if it's 33 days, they've got automated offers for sure. People that just send out blind offers all the time. They've had other wholesalers call them. They've had other investors call them, especially if it's a beat up property. This isn't something new. This isn't a new concept. So are they flexible? And then what offers have they rejected? Well, it was a really low offer before. It wasn't even reasonable. They weren't serious about it, and they just wouldn't go that low. Okay, so like somebody came in like, 100 grand lower or something, right? You kind of do this weird like assumption thing that you've had this conversation like a million times with agents, and you're playing around, and you're just, when this door is shut and they don't tell you, they hit you with the fiduciary, then what offers have been rejected, and then start throwing out. So what, they were like 50 grand under, 100 grand under. Some of them, listen, they're going to stonewall you, and good for them. I mean, that's their deal. But for the most part, agents' jobs are to be, agents are salespeople. They might not realize that they're salespeople, and they don't teach sales in real estate school, but that's what it is. All right. Number 3 is if they don't sell, what's their plan with the property? What's the plan? What's the plan? Oh, they'll keep it. Oh, they'll renovate it. Oh, they'll just rent it again. Oh, they have to sell it. They'll go at some point, right? I'm just trying to get an idea of what's going on in the mind of the property owner, right? Are they one of those investors that they're just throwing stuff out there and they don't really care? Are they just one of those people that are like pie in the sky? Let's see what's going on in the market. Trust me, people do this. It's wild, but they do. So this is a really, really, really great question. Number 4 is, are they open to payments? Open to payments on it, right? This is where you start getting into the creative finance or seller financing, essentially, or whatever. I mean, there's a ton of different techniques, but are they open to payments on it, right? No, they need to get all cashed out. If they can't get all cashed out, do you think that they'd be open to payments? You think that there's ever in this world opportunity that they would be open to be in the bank on this property, or working with us on this thing, or getting creative, right? And most of the time, agents have no idea what that means. You just got to see if there's just a little crack there that you can explain what you're talking about to the property owner or to the agent. Just depends. Sometimes you have to talk directly to the property owner with the permission of the agent if they don't really know how to explain what's going on. But if they really want to sell it, they're really motivated, this will happen. So that's what I want you to do with On Market. If you have questions, that's what the show is live. That's why we do this live, so we can answer your questions. Moving on. We've got 7 minutes before Matt Camp with DealMachine is coming in here. I'm going to stop sharing this, but guys, that's how you go after those on market as is properties. They're great. They're phenomenal. I mean, it should just be part of your normal routine there. So next is tired landlords. All right. Tired landlords, write this down. Tired landlords are, they've owned the property at least 7 years. Okay. Now you can play around with this number. You can go 10, you can go 15, you could go 20, you could go 5. I don't care. But play around with it. I usually start at 7 because it filters the list nice, and I know that there's some rust on this deal. There's some it's a little bit rougher if they haven't done complete renovations in the last 7 years, especially if it's been a rental. Typically, they're going to keep it in rental condition, and that means that they haven't totally upgraded it, right? So they've owned it 7 years. It was built before 1990. 1990 and before. I want these things old. I want these 30 plus years old, right? I remember it's like an old car, right? If you go out and you buy a 2019 Camry, it's a different body style, it's a different interior, it's a different technology, it's a different feel, it's a different layout, everything, right? It's a little bit more modern. Even if it's beat up a little bit, it's not a 1992 Camry. You know what I'm saying? It's not a 1989 Camry, right? With that, you got to do everything to it. I mean, you got to totally gut the car. It's the same thing with how nobody's going to gut a car. Let's be honest. All those cars get destroyed. So it's kind of a weird analogy, but with houses, they don't. You don't just bulldoze houses every, 10 years. And so they need some renovation. And that's where the most opportunity is, because that hill to climb for the average property owner is too big. They don't have the budget to be able to go in and completely renovate it to get to today's standards and today's prices. So they're willing to take discounts. They're willing to sell it as is because it's so much of a burden that they just don't want to deal with it. So we want older properties. I suggest you go for properties that are 2,000 square feet and below to start. Why 2,000 square feet and below? Because that's the bread and butter, baby. That's the bread and butter. That's where flippers want. That's where rental portfolios want. That's where investors want. They want 2,000 square feet and below because the renovation budget doesn't get totally blown out of control, right? And it's right in that sweet spot of where the houses are selling for. Right now, the best houses are selling for median sale price and below. So you put out a really nice property at median sale price in your market and below, it's gonna sell, right? It's when you get into that middle ground that's real rough, and then luxury, it's this whole other beast, and that's always going. It always does well. Good markets, bad markets, because that's a whole different buyer, right? Anyway, next, so 2,000 square feet. Built before 1990, 7 years ownership, non-owner occupied, absentee owner. Guys, you could pull it right here on DealMachine. You can pull it on DealMachine. If you want to go free with it, get PropWire. PropWire can pull that list. DealMachine can pull that list. Either one of them you can pull that tired landlord. Next, utility turnoff. This is not for everybody, but in some areas, the utilities are tied to the government. And if the utilities are tied to a government agency, then the Freedom of Information Act, you can get the utility turnoff. Typically, it's not easy. You got to talk to a lot of people. They don't want to give it to you, but it's a great list and you can get it. Here in Arizona, we have private companies that run the utility, so we can't get that list. But you can get like a vacant list, which is pretty similar. That's just the USPS, the United States Postal Office, puts out a list to all these list companies and says, hey, mail isn't deliverable here. So it's probably empty, which means it doesn't have utilities. So if you can get the water turnoff list, that's fantastic. Electricity turnoff list, great. All of those have been really solid for people, especially for some reason in the East Coast. In the East Coast, I feel like the utility companies are just willy-nilly with this list. So go bananas, get it. The East Coast and Southeast is really big there. But if not, get the vacant list from DealMachine. It's going to be pretty close. Next, expired listings. Now, this one doesn't get talked about much, but let me share this one. This might be a new resource for you guys, but it was what I used as a real estate agent to call expired and canceled listings. They also have for sale by owner. It's redx.com. Guys, I'm telling you, I think RedX, if I am right, let me see what the cost is. I think for expired listings, it's like $99 a month. Let's see. Here we go. $69 a month, $130 a month for all the other stuff that you need. But really, they give you the phone numbers. They let you know if it's on the DNC, and it updates to your dialer every day, which was a huge benefit. So I would just go in every day as a real estate agent. I would just go in. It would be in my new expired list, and I would just call through all the new expireds every single day. And really, if I would have known about wholesaling, I would have made an absolute fortune. If I would have known about creative financing, I would have made an absolute fortune as well. But because if you go as the buyer as opposed to a real estate agent that's trying to get the listing, trying to get hired, oh man, it's like a grease shoot. You know, you get past that initial knee-jerk reflex no, and you're able to fight that rejection that they have because they're curious. They do want to sell their property. They just couldn't get the price that they wanted on the market, or they didn't like their agent or whatever else, or they didn't have equity. So RedX is a phenomenal resource for the canceled expired listings. They also have for sale by owners, pre-foreclosures, that type of thing. And I think they've got a dialer built into this now, which is really cool. So definitely check that out if you're going after the expired list. All right. Boom. Next, vacant land. Vacant land, you can pull it. You can pull it anywhere. You can pull it on DealMachine. You can pull it on PropWire, whatever you want to do. Pull that vacant land list. What are we looking for in vacant land? Listen, if they're behind on their property taxes, that's a good filter, right? If they've owned it for a while. This one, I'm a little bit all over the place because I have seen people inherit land and instantly sell it for nothing, right? Like there's not as much emotional connection. There's not as much, things stopping people from selling those properties. So I'm selling those, the vacant land. So go for it. Next, we've got Matt Camp coming up here after we get through this list. For sale by owners. Guys, you could pull for sale by owners right on. First of all, you can get it from Red X, which I just showed you, but you can also get it right there on Zillow. Let me show you here. Go into more and then see this buy owner and other right there. And don't put agent listed, just put buy owner. And now you've got all these properties. By the way, these are the properties that are for sale by owner that say as is. By the way, if you see these auction ones, these are either foreclosed and they're going to be going to the auction or they're about to be. So you can reach out to, I think a lot of these are with XOM. I don't know what this is. And they post a lot of these for bid. Which could be a strategy for you, but they could be, I would do some research. I would pull these addresses. I would put them into DealMachine and I would see if the owner still owns them or if it's a bank. If the owner still owns them, call them up. They're in pre-foreclosure. Boom, hot list. Is this making sense to everybody? Put in, don't just sit back and just be a voyeur in this thing. I want you to participate, get into the chat. Give me a thumbs up, give me a fire, give me a rhinoceros, give me a bell, give me anything that lets me know that this is beneficial to you, so that I keep bringing you the content that you guys want. All right. Next, boom, unknown equity. This one's interesting, and I'm going to get into this, Matt. Just bear with me here. I've been on fire this morning. I've just got a lot of enthusiasm today, so I'm just chatty. DealMachine here has, and this is so beautiful. This is honestly one of my favorite things about DealMachine. If you'll just go full screen, Matt, with me, that'll be easier. But if you go to this more button and you just type in equity, we did this last week too, equity, and you go to estimated equity and you go is unknown. A lot of investors filter based on 30% plus of equity or 0% equity, depending on what strategy they're going after. And the unknown equity list is oftentimes overlooked. And this is one of the top lists this year so far in the Rhino tribe, is this unknown equity list. And so it's the same filters that you're doing with your owner occupied or absentee owners, but you're just doing it with this unknown. What I mean is 2,000 square feet or smaller, 1990 or older, owned for 7 years, and then unknown equity. Bada boom, in the markets that you're going after. Pull the list, get the numbers, call them up. Would you consider an offer on your property there? Yes. Boom. Fantastic. I'll be over there today at 1 o'clock. Let's get this agreement approved. And that's how this business works. That's it. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, as the incredible Tom Kroll would tell us, right? And the last one here, guys, is boom. The last one here is owner occupied equity. Same list that I've been talking about with tired landlords, except for now you go and you just click the owner occupied button. Not absentee owner, not corporate owner, the owner occupied list. At some point, now I put this down at the bottom because at some point you're going to need to get bigger lists, because you're going to go through all these niche lists, because you're out there taking massive imperfect action every single day, building those skills, building that enthusiasm, talking to 30 to 100 people every single day, asking them if they would sell their property to you, and you're going to run out of lists to call. That's when you got to open it up, especially in smaller markets, especially in markets that are 500,000 people or below. You got to open up those markets to owner occupied, but the same criteria, right? The same criteria. And you can play around with some of the filters. You can go for the owners that are over 65 that own 2-story houses. What are we talking about here? Let's go, right? That's what I love. DealMachine's just an incredible tool to be able to pull all those lists and to have fun and like test these lists, test these lists. And I'll get into the bonus later into the show about reverse wholesaling lists. But before I do, let's bring on Matt Camp here.
Hey,
there he
what's
is.
up, Brent? Fired up to be here. I love the energy you're bringing. It's a great list of lists right there. So
talk to me, right? So is
Yep.
Driving for Dollars the top list that people are getting the most success from? Because DealMachine is responsible, or at least not responsible, but is in partnership with the incredible entrepreneurs out there that are doing the work of what, 10,000 deals, 12,000 deals?
Yeah, we need to update that number because it was last year we hit 10,000. So I actually need to get that updated number here for you guys too. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what anything I share on these is, it's, hey, we're practicing what we preach over here. We're using it in our own business. And then also, like you said, we've had over 10,000 deals done at this point, using DealMachine as the tool to help enable you guys to get out there and go do deals. So yeah, I have a lot of data we can pull on there. I know the D for D piece, to answer that, Brent.
Yep.
I know just across the board, when we look at the data to figure out like what is the list that it takes the least number of leads to get to a deal.
Yes.
That is D for D. Like hands down, the number one indicator of a motivated seller is that house that's in poor condition, is a fixer upper, is one that needs help, because hey, it's an indicator that they may be looking to sell. They might not want to deal with anymore. They can't deal with anymore. There are many reasons why they might be dealing with something that you can come in and offer speed and convenience and cash and help them out, have them be excited to do business with you that way. Yep. But identifying those houses that other people can't easily find by Driving for Dollars. Yes, we've got all, 700 plus data points you can tap into now using all of our list building technology as well. But D for D, hands down, is going to be the least number of leads it's going to take for you to get to a deal. So,
is it better to mail them or to call them? Is it better to door knock them? Is it better? Like, where are you seeing? Because you guys interview a lot of people for your podcast. You get a lot of feedback. You guys are really entrenched into the different communities and different coaching programs and different YouTube channels and different podcasts and all these things, right? And so what is the best lead generation that we should be implementing for the list that we can get?
Yeah, so I'd say I wish there was a silver bullet that I could just say, hey, no matter what, if you just do this one thing, it's going to work out for you. I wish there was that one answer. And, if there was, I think everybody would start doing it, and it would probably not be the case anymore. But what I would say in terms of the smartest approach to this whole thing, what we see working time and time again, there's kind of different functions for a couple of those different methods you talk about. One, if you can be as efficient with your time as possible, no matter what you're doing, that's going to help a ton. If you're doing things like making calls, inside DealMachine, we launched our dialer about a month ago, right?
Yep.
If you can just use
phenomenal.
Which has been awesome. The contact rates on there have been wild, man. It's been like 20% plus, which is pretty incredible. But if you look in there, you have the unlimited free skip tracing in there. If you use technology just to make you more efficient and effective, you can get more dials in. You can use, if you use the AI voicemail drops that we have in DealMachine now, which you just click a button, you hit drop voicemail, and you can train it to sound like your voice and drop an AI-based voicemail in their inbox. Things like that, those add up quickly, where you can cut your calling time in half, because you don't have to keep reading the same script over and over and over. So if you're able to use technologies to be more efficient like that, regardless of what your marketing channel is going to be, that's going to give you more touch points, more at bats, more chances to have those conversations with sellers, right? And then if you combine that, you could say, okay, I've got this short-term marketing, where I'm reaching out one-to-one, I'm making calls, I'm doing door knocking, I'm using we have a drive a list feature in DealMachine to be able to help you door knock, to get out there and help give you the fastest turn-by-turn navigation to every lead on your list, so you can go out there and have that in-person touch point and door knock. If you're using technology to kind of have a multitude of ways you're reaching out, really just be consistent with that and use technology to help you, again, save you time to do that. And then you put them on that direct mail campaign as a follow-up. That combination of this short-term one-to-one kind of, hand-to-hand, marketing like that, where it's not as easy to just automate, but it is very effective to get in touch with people that way. And then you combine that with automation, with putting them on a drip campaign with, direct mail, for example, where you hit a button and you don't have to worry about it anymore. That combination is what we're seeing work, where you can get a ton of touch points in a variety of different ways.
Let me ask you this. how many people virtually drive for dollars versus actually go into the streets? Because I have I don't know, I have kind of a gripe, so to speak, with
Yeah.
driving for dollars, which is I'm not going to go call anybody until I get enough people in my driving for dollars list. And so I'm going to go out and I'm going to add people to my database and to
Mhm.
my app, which is fine. Listen, we got to stack small wins, but adding to your list does not get you paid,
For sure.
right? Having
Yep.
conversations, pre-qualifying, doing effective lead follow-up, having a really slick offer presentation, and getting that agreement approved. That's how we move down the path to closing and getting paid and getting that wire in from the title company or closing attorney and
Yep.
looking at our account on our phone and be like, oh my gosh, that is it,
Yeah.
right?
Click. Yeah. Yeah.
So I feel like virtual driving for dollars cuts all that out. You can literally just sit on your couch while you're
Mhm.
watching whatever, while you're going into escapism, or maybe you're just really focused and you can
Mhm.
just Google Maps drive for dollars. So what's the percentage of people that do that? And are there
Mhm.
markets that the Google Maps aren't really effective and we have to go out into the streets?
Yeah, I'd say virtual driving for dollars is going to be in the more popular, the more highly concentrated
Good.
popular cities is going to be more
Good.
effective, just because they're going to be more updated photos, like you said as well. And it's it's going to be a little more density, so you're going to be able to quickly go through and click for dollars there. But you are right, like in general, the less hoops you have to jump through to actually get to the conversation, the better. Like
Yep.
if you could say, oh yeah, I'll start calling people, I'll start getting in touch with people after I watch this one more podcast, or after I go to this one more webinar, or after I do this or that. Like there's a million things of, oh, once it's convenient, once it's after this, I will then do the action that will equal more deals, right? So driving for dollars, I definitely don't want people to get into that bucket of saying, oh, once I get 1,000 leads, or once I get 100 leads, then I'll start calling. The big thing when we look at our most successful customers, and we not just have the 10,000 plus deals done using DealMachine now, but we have hundreds of interviews on our YouTube channel with people who have done deals as well. When we talk to them, the big thing they all have in common is they're leading with action. Like
Yep.
I love your mindset, the Rhino mindset of like massive imperfect action. That's it right there, guys. Like there we go. Talk to people. And it aligns so well with what we see working over and over again. So if you're able to get out there, like virtual D4D, maybe that could be a good thing for you, because hey, even if you sit back and start virtual driving, it's one, if you're sitting there and you're actually taking action on that call, like you find a house and you call them right then, which
Yep.
in DealMachine, again, you just click the call button, the dialer's all set up, ready to go. You hit call and you get in touch with them right there. It's already pre-skip trace. It already gives you contact info. Like have less barriers from you talking to that person. So D4D is great, but you got to also follow through with the real action that matters, is what you do with those leads to
Yeah.
turn those addresses into appointments. So
Awesome. Matt Camp, thank you so much for joining us. You're
Always, man.
absolutely incredible. He snuck in here. Tom Kroll is speaking at Investor Fuel, an incredible mastermind.
Sounds
And
great.
I texted Matt this morning. I was like, oh my gosh, I need you to
You
come
in?
on
Yeah.
and spend some time with the audience. And so thank you for being here, guys. DealMachine.com. Check it out. Matt Camp, you're the man. Thank you.
Appreciate you guys. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Remember, our job as entrepreneurs, as business owners, is to remove all the obstacles from the income producing activities. And I think if we all take an honest microscope, if we're under the honest microscope and we look at what actually makes income in our business, talking to people, baby, talking to people every single day, having new conversations. Let me get into a couple questions here. And then we'll get into our next guest, which is Clifford Walker, the cowboy closer out of Texas. Absolutely incredible entrepreneur, incredible real estate investor. We're going to have so much fun with him. But before we do that, let's get to your questions. After months of studying, ready to take action, unfortunately, during this time, regulations have passed in Oregon where I live. Think about just wholesaling virtually because of it. Thoughts? Yeah, you can certainly go virtual. I would also just see, how can you see, when I first heard that Illinois was going to require that you get a license to wholesale, I was like, oh no, You know what I mean? This is crazy. This is going to really restrict a lot of people that are just getting started out to be able to do this business. And then I realized that the people that did have a license or did have the ability to close on the deals as opposed to assign the deals or have a partner in the deal that is a real estate agent, their income exploded. I knew so many incredible people in Illinois that all of a sudden, all the competition just totally went away. The tide went out and they were the only ones left. And so they made an absolute fortune. So when I see regulations, I see opportunity. And that's not just like let's put on rose-colored glasses and let's just make everything positive and optimistic. I mean, it's probably the right approach, but that's not really the approach that I'm talking about here. I just think it's a good opportunity to go find these deals where other people are going to go and do it virtually now. So when other people are running to other areas, you're sitting pretty in Oregon finding unbelievable deals. And by the way, there's hundreds of thousands of deals in Oregon. Somebody's going to do them. It's not like there's going to be less deals done. It's just going to be the people that find out ways to do it effectively. So I think some creative thinking, some critical thinking skills there is a good path to go down, because I think that you're going to find that there's going to be way less competition. And when that happens, when it's just you and that owner negotiating, you get the best deals. So either way, you can absolutely crush it virtually. If you just want to get started right now and you've got, the wind behind your back and you're just like, I need to just start talking to some property owners and I don't have whatever's required. Put in here what is required in Oregon. I don't know if you need a license or if they just totally shut it down. But let me know what the regulations are. I'd be really curious about that. Oh, we got our first bell ring here. Crispy Bacon, just assignment contract signed this morning. Come on. Guys, listen, if you took any action today, I want you to put it in the chat. I want to be ringing this victory bell. Matt, you got to bring back the confetti that explodes on the screen, bud. You know what I'm saying? Because that is awesome. Congratulations. Contract signed July 22nd. Assignment contract signed this morning. How much you making, Crispy? Crispy Bacon. Listen, if Crispy Bacon can do it, so can you. I'm just saying, Crispy Bacon's out there just finding deals, getting it done. You know what I'm saying? So everybody on here can do this business. Absolutely anybody starting out. I've worked with under parental guidance, a parent team where the 14-year-olds making the calls. I've had 12-year-olds making calls. I've had an 8-year-old make calls before in a live setting. It was a little awkward, but if they can do it, so can you. At 42, at 32, at 22, whatever it is, you can do this business and you can find unbelievable opportunities. And it really is, Matt, when you get a chance, give me that graphic where the foundation is wholesaling and everything else is built on it. And we'll get going with that. But listen, everybody can do this business. You're so powerful. You're so incredible. You just gotta, you gotta put yourself out there. You gotta be brave. You gotta have that courage, right? You got to speak to everybody with kindness and confidence and curiosity. It's what I just dropped off my new second grader, Bo, started today. And that's how we go. What are you going to be today? Kind, confident, curious, right? You go with that approach to your business, to the people that you're reaching out with that have distressed properties, that have personal problems with their properties. You are unstoppable. You're a 10,000 pound rhinoceros. I don't even know if rhinoceroses are 10,000 pounds. Will you fact check me on that, guys? But I think they're really heavy. I think they're super heavy and they can get going really fast and they charge at one thing at a time. That's why we call it the Rhino Tribe. Absolutely incredible. Next, here we go. Jose has, hey, Brent, by the way, guys, he's waiting in the wings. He's got a white cowboy hat. Not quite yet. Don't bring him on yet. Clifford the Cowboy Closer is about to just absolutely blow your faces off in about 3 minutes. All right. So let me get through these questions, Clifford, and we'll get going. Oh boy, here we go. Here's another one. Emma and Brandon. Look at this dream team. Boom. 10K assignment closing Friday. 2 more deals closing this month. Come on. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, there's some confetti. There it is. Matt's on it today. Matt was here early. He's pumped. He's pumped. Man, you're doing your thing, bro. We're getting this show down. I'm telling you. Jose, hey Brent, I had a pre-foreclosure lead that the owners died and the daughters have not gone through probate. Yep. How do I get them under contract if the property is not in their name? Yeah, great question. Technically, it can't. I mean, it won't be valid. But I think that just from a kind of the mentality, the commitment level of the deceased's relatives or whoever's inheriting it or personal representative or whoever's handling the probate, they're committed to you. So if they're committed to you, then you've got a stronger relationship than not. So I don't mind if you go and get the property under contract with the whoever's inheriting the property or going through the probate process. Is it valid? No. Can they cancel? Yes. Can you put a memorandum of contract? You better not. You better not. Because it's just a nightmare and it's just a bad juju, right? Bad energy there. But I would get a commitment from them and build that relationship for sure. All right. I love this question, Samuel. I saw it and I started myself before Matt could even get to it. I saw just a snippet of it and I was like, yes, this is it. I do solely on market. I'm always concerned that creative deals I assign will default down the line and the agents will blame me and affect my reputation. Should I purchase all creative deals myself? This is a real concern. This is real. This is absolutely real. If you're going to sell creative deals, it better not be to a stranger. It better be to one of the top real estate investors in your area. Somebody that's got their systems down so unbelievably well. Unbelievably well. If it's just you're just putting it out there to try to make the most and it's somebody coming in for the first time and they really have no idea, it's going to bite you. Not just your reputation. You could get a lawsuit for sure. And listen, I mean, Tom talks about it. Tom Kroll talks about the things that destroy entrepreneurs are typically overhead, taxes, and legal, right? And divorce, essentially. But that kind of gets into the legal. But you don't want to deal with that. Remember, attention management matters, right? Not your priority management. Although that's important, not energy management, not time management, your attention management really matters. So if your attention is on other things that are non-income producing, it's going to slow your business down. It's like driving my beautiful new Cybertruck through a bunch of quicksand. It just isn't good. And I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. So don't make the mistakes of getting the quick buck and sending it out there and being kind of like a gunslinger with creative deals. It's got to be real tight and you got to bring in people that are really trusted. All right. You guys ready? Clifford, the cowboy closer, is in the house. You ready? How are you, brother?
I'm doing phenomenally well, brother. It is a blessing to see you as always, man. I get 10 minutes of you and I'm ready to just run through a wall. Like that rhino energy is contagious, brother. I love it.
Well, tell everybody where you live, where you do business.
I am in the Dallas market. I do mostly Dallas and Houston or my main markets. And I live in kind of Waxahachie outside of Dallas in the country. It's growing, so it's not that country anymore.
I love it. And when did you start?
2019.
I love it. So 5 years.
Yeah. It's coming up, man. I'm excited.
So what is we're talking about what lists to go after, right? Lead generation is the absolute engine of our business. We got to make sure we're going after the right properties, right? There's no sense in going fishing in a desert, right? Yeah, so sure. we need to be able to go where the fish are. Where do you find your deals?
You know, my best list, I mean, even from the time I started till now, has always been the probate kind of / inherited, going after those. My largest deals to this very day is still 74K was a probate. I had another 66K. That was a probate. All of my 50 plus deals have been from probate. Yeah, I think that's the go-to list. That
where do you get your probates from?
Actually, I'm playing around with this new platform, REI Works, that does like AI scoring, and then PropStream as well.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
PropStream has inherited lists?
Yes.
Awesome. So walk me through that process. So you go into PropStream, you look for the probate. Is it probate inherited? What is it labeled?
Yeah, what is it actually labeled? I can pull it up to see I don't want to give the wrong facts there.
Somebody is in Kevin Sims is in Grand Prairie. Do you know where that is?
Yeah, that's around the corner from me.
All right. We'll definitely connect, guys.
For sure.
That's awesome. So you get into PropStream
there. I download it, I pull it, I skip trace it through Lead Sherpas, who I use for my skip tracing.
Awesome.
And then I start calling folks.
Yep.
TTP, talk to people, right?
That's it. So you're making the calls yourself?
Not anymore. No,
Okay.
not as much. I have a kind of junior acquisitions that makes those calls, and typically he'll get the interest and get it going. If he can't close it, then I'll get in there and close it.
Awesome. So your junior acquisitions, are they local? Are they overseas? How'd you find them?
Local. They're local.
Awesome. So how did you recruit them?
Family and friends.
That's it.
I love it. And you know what's beautiful? I heard you on Investor Lift podcast.
Yeah.
And how you were talking about hiring family and friends. I think that is the secret sauce that nobody wants to do. Like, why would you not want to hire your friends and family, especially if you consider yourself a good person and somebody that wants to bless people and help people?
You know, let me talk to this, because I've been thinking about this a lot. There's standards that we have to have in our business, right? There's standards of where we want to go. There's standards on what we want to build. There's standards on the way that we want our reputation to be. How do you keep high standards but not be an asshole?
I think it's setting the expectation up front. And then I try to lead from the front as well. So they're definitely watching me. So if I'm slacking or don't have high standards for myself, then it's going to just trickle down, period.
Yep.
But I think too that anybody that works with me, I let them know that, hey, we're all trying to figure this thing out together. And so it gives people the grace to make mistakes and let them know that mistakes are okay, but then still get better and raise the standard and learn from those mistakes.
I love it. And when you're talking about standard, are you talking about just in business? You're talking about your lifestyle. You're talking about what you're doing when you're not. You're talking about being available. You're talking about fast communication. What does that mean?
I think all of the above, but in the sense of like probate and talking to sellers, right? And on the real estate side of things and keeping it that way. Number one, we have to have major empathy, because these people just lost a loved one, right? And so I say that they need somebody to come in there and pray with them, not pray on them. Am I making sense there?
I love it.
Right? And so you have to have a high level of empathy. And then, like you said, speed kills all deals, or I think that's the way you said it. So
time kills all deals. Yeah.
We have to get to them quicker. I don't have to be better than Brent. I just got to get to the lead before he does.
That's right.
That's it. Right. That's it. So when those come through, we have to have a massive sense of urgency.
So how do you, when you are pulling that list, is it something that's fresh all the time? Like you're trying to like update that every week, every day? How do you get to those leads before everybody else? Because I agree, right? Like, you don't have to be faster than the bear. You just have to be faster than me. You know what I mean?
Right, for sure.
Yeah.
We pull our data by the month on
Okay.
a monthly basis. And I pulled it up on PropStream. It says probate/deceased owner. And so
Got it.
I've actually found in my experience that those families need to have a moment to grieve. If they just lost a loved one and then you're literally calling them the next day saying, hey, you interested in selling your house? Like, they're probably going to cuss you out and hang up on you. But they need to have the funeral. They need to have discussions amongst the family and figure out what exactly they want to do with the property. So I actually believe that hitting those properties, 15 to 30 days later works better.
Awesome.
In
Have
my
you messed
opinion.
around with US lead lists at all?
No, I haven't.
Oh, brother. Oh, I'm gonna hook you up. Mike is gonna be on the show at the tail end of this. He's the owner of it. It's the top list that we're using right now. And the top list in the Rhino tribe is this US leads list. This is before it even gets filed for the probate. So this is, they're getting all of the data as soon as the obituaries come out. They match it up with, do they own properties, and it allows you to have those conversations, not before they get through the funeral process or whatever. Typically that's already happened, but before they file the actual probates. And you'll know as well as I do, you only get that list from PropStream once they publicly file that with the courts. And a lot of people, and we run into this all the time, Cliff, a lot of people that are like filling out our web leads are they've never filed, and it's been years. The property's been sitting there, somebody's been living in it, or it's been vacant, or they've been renting it out to somebody, and they just haven't gone through the probate process yet. So we have to unravel that when we get them. But a lot of people don't file that right away.
No.
And so it's really interesting. A lot of family members just don't know about it, which is really, really interesting. So US lead list is absolutely bananas. I wanted to share this with you as well.
Oh, I love that.
This is how I started off the show today, on the 4 levers that we can pull as entrepreneurs to make more income, right? You get more leads, you have a higher conversion, you make more per deal, or you build a really good referral database. In these 4 here, which one stands out to you, and which ones are you really focused on in 2024 for you and your team?
Referrals and outbound leads.
Yes.
I've been blessed. Our community's growing, and just the people that are getting started, I'm noticing a kind of disconnect where they're getting them under contract, but then they can't get them to the finish line. So referrals have been huge on that aspect. And then just building a network of just agents and friends and family that I scream to the mountaintop now. They know what I do. Everybody knows what I do. And so I want to be a top of mind when people are having closed doors conversations about a property, and they say, you know what? I know this crazy cowboy guy in Texas that says he buys houses. We should give him a call. So
you get loud.
I do.
And you've been getting loud for a while.
I have. And I will say, after our last talk, I've gotten even louder.
That's it. And I'm telling you. So what gave you the confidence early on, or what gave you the idea, the thought that, you know what, if I give myself a, not a title, not a label, but like the cowboy closer is something that, is synonymous with you. Like how did that come about? Was that something that you had from a previous industry, or is that something that you just brought to real estate?
No, actually, I'll give my wife credit for that. So when I got connected with this mentor, and I just literally started doing everything that he said, was go talk to people. And I started getting deals. That very first month, I ended up getting 6 deals under contract. And then my wife was like, well, I guess you're just the cowboy closer, aren't you? And I said, you know what? Yes, I am. Let's go. And that has stuck ever since, and it's been history.
That's awesome. And so do you think that everybody should do that? Do you think that it's something that maybe gives people a leg up, at least from a social media standpoint, that it's something that, oh, they're like, oh yeah, the cowboy closer. You know what I mean? Oh, the TTP guy. You know what I mean?
I think,
and I'm not saying from like a coaching and mentorship standpoint, but just from friends and family, for them to know what you're doing.
I think it could give you a leg up, but that was never my intent. I mean, I'm just naturally country. Like, it's just, this is me. I'm authentically me, period. And I think that that's what's going to actually give people the leg up, if they just be authentic to themselves, period, would be the main thing.
Love it.
But if I may kind of throw a nugget out there, or at least it's a nugget to me, I was talking to a friend the other day, and we were talking about how I just got started, or when I got started. I was such a natural introvert, y'all, when I first got started. And so my goal was to actually not get my first deal. My goal was just to practice having quality conversations. Like, that was it. So I would literally watch one of your training videos or Chris Voss's training videos on how to talk to sellers. And I say, okay, I'm going to practice this for this day and get better at it. And then this week. And that's what I was actually going after. I'm like, I need to figure out how to have quality conversations and get deals that way. And so I will like to say, I think people need to spend more time there in that arena, working on their conversation skills, so to speak.
Building the skills. Yeah. I put this up. Oh, I love this. This is the Alex Hermosi thing. All problems are solvable with skills, and skills are all attainable with repetition and feedback. Once you have the skill, you can do it in less time, which gives you leverage. You can get more for what you do. And it's the absolute fact. But, I think sometimes we struggle, Clifford, with imposter syndrome. Right. I think we struggle with labels that other people put on us. I think we struggle with labels that we put on ourselves. I am an introvert. That is a label.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It was.
As opposed to the cowboy closer.
Yeah. Agreed. It was a label at the time. It was a label at the time. Now I don't, but yeah, absolutely.
It's awesome. So how many conversations do you think you had to have before you felt comfortable?
Hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands. I mean, because it's a lot. Like, I've put my boot in my mouth so many times, and like, I can still taste the leather. Like, it's insane. Like, so I will tell everybody, like, give yourself some grace. Like, it's okay if you mess up. And what I would tell myself is, well, I guess that's the family I'm not supposed to serve today. I'm not supposed to serve that family today. So I go on to the next call. And that was my way of kind of keeping me motivated and on track when I kept messing up those calls.
I love it. And so your business is all wholesale?
Majority. Yeah. I may do like 1 or 2 flips a year. But there's typically a partner involved, so I'm not having to oversee that. But yeah, majority.
So you partner with somebody that has experience with flips?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's the way to do it.
Because I actually don't know much of nothing about construction.
Me neither.
So I'm not trying to go and learn that whole side of the business and do all that. So if I can partner with somebody and split the profits 50-50, like, for me, it's easier.
I love it. And so how do you know when to cherry pick those? Is there like a certain, income level, or, a certain amount that you'll make, or double what you would make on a wholesale deal to do a flip? Like, why cherry pick some flips versus wholesaling everything?
They just got to be ridiculously good. I mean, like, ridiculously good. And it's just one of those things where I'm like, wow, this is actually like a 40% deal or 30 or 50% deal. Like,
it's number 3 right here.
Yeah.
Make more per deal. You have to listen. And I mentioned this earlier, but for anybody just joining, if you're going to, there's 2 paths: go nationwide, or pick a few different markets, get a really good marketing channel, stick with it, go get some awesome deals and do that, or stay in, a concentrated market. And if you stay in a concentrated market, you have to have different exit strategies. You have to be good at it. You got to be able to recognize novations, got to be able to recognize flips or wholesale, or sending referrals to real estate agents to get 50% of the commissions there if you're licensed. Like, all of those things matter, don't you think?
Yo, absolutely. I think it's a melting pot. Like, you have to have all those things. I
love it. And so what's the big goal for you? Is the big goal a big portfolio? Is it just to build a ridiculous cash machine with your wholesaling and flipping business? Is it to put your money into, I don't know, land or development or the stock market, or what are you going to do? What's the big vision?
Honestly, I don't know. I mean, I'm sorry. I know you have so many people that have it all figured out in a 5-year plan. Like, I'm slowly growing the business, and I'm getting better at being a leader, being an entrepreneur, being a business owner. And so I'm just trying to keep growing day to day, year to year. Yep. And maybe one day I'll wake up and have an epiphany and like, okay, this is what I need to do. But for now, it's just building a cash machine, and keep rocking and rolling, because cash will solve a lot of problems.
It's so smart. And this is really, I've been doing it since 2004. And this is what I've really discovered. You find the ground that everything else is built off of is finding discounted properties. That's all wholesaling is, the art of finding discounted properties. And so that's how we build. And then we figure out what we're going to do. We figure out if we're going to fix and flip, if we're going to build a rental portfolio, develop, be the bank, coaching and mentorship, all those things. But it starts with being able to effectively and efficiently and productively and profitably. Man, I'm on fire today, Raph. I'm telling you.
You're on it today, brother.
Woo! I'll tell you. It is. I think it's because the kids are back in school. I'm just like, I feel like, focus back. Yeah. Anyway, you find discounted properties, you're going to be set, guys. So,
100%.
Awesome. Guys, right there is Clifford, the cowboy closer. Make sure that you go and follow him. Make sure that you send him a nice note. If you can, take a picture of us right now, screenshot your phone, take a picture of the screen, tag us both in it, put us in your stories. That would be really awesome. I would love to see repost all of those on Instagram. That'd be really, really, really cool. So thanks, Clifford. You're the best.
Absolutely. Appreciate you, brother. Good to see you as always.
You too. Love you, bud. Awesome. Raphael.
He's got it dialed in. What's up, bro?
How are you?
Fam.
Awesome. We're talking about top lists. Raph, top lists that you're working with right now.
Right now, I mean, we went deep into the
pre-foreclosures.
Pre-foreclosures, yeah, of course. We're doing that, and those mainly coming straight from county records. Sent into our own database. Fresh data is what kills it.
Yeah.
On the bulk side, not necessarily bulk because the numbers are not that big as like if you had an absentee owners list.
Yeah.
But the AA list, man, we're having pretty good results with the AA list with through ReallyFlow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good list. It's a good, healthy list. You drop it in there, and then they have like 600 points of reference on the back end of that thing that just they'll give you a rating of how likely they are to sell.
Yep.
And on that we go 500 plus. I used to go 800 plus, but the list was a lot smaller.
Tiny.
Yeah. Yep. So we go 500 plus and you get a pretty healthy hit.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that's what we're doing. And it's pumping out leads on a regular, but still on cold calling, believe it or not. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be real interesting seeing how machine learning, the more input that you put into a local market, these are the properties that we're selling. We're doing this on PPC. We're doing this with Google. We're training Google every single day on all the deals that we've closed for the last 5 years based on, what is the avatar there. And that's building something that's phenomenal. I think I just got a smoking hot lead right now in Avondale. I got one in Avondale and one in San Diego and one in Oracle, Arizona.
What is Oracle?
I have no idea. Nicholas Nick coming up in about 15 minutes. He owns he is wild. He's a wild guy. He owns the leadminingpros.com, and he's going to be talking about he's made over 7 million cold calls. And so we're going to get best practices from him coming up here in about 7 minutes. So that's going to be awesome. Until then,
Nice.
we've got some questions here. So we talked about Oregon getting regulations. It says must register with the real estate commission, pay registration fee, provide disclosures to any potential buyer, seller, broker engaged in the sale. Thinks Jerry's takedown is the way to go here. Sure. I don't know. I mean, if you have to register with the real estate commission, that doesn't seem like that big of a hurdle to jump.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, additional paperwork. I think they just want to crank down on who's doing what and whatnot. I mean, they got to have better accountability, which I don't necessarily disagree with.
Yeah.
One thing that I want to throw out there, dude. This morning we got a call. Well, we got a message from our one-offs. So we'll do text blasting on just some scenarios, like to our buyers list and that sort of thing. So we're still doing some of that stuff, but it's all, approved and people that let us talk to them.
Yeah.
But today, it was just a conversation going back and forth between my acquisitions guy and one of the sellers.
Yeah.
So he sent a message out that was just a follow-up, and he actually typed it and send it out, right? So it was a legit, SMS that was sent, not a blast message or anything, but it said the phrase cash offer on your house. So, they've been going back and forth for a few messages.
Yeah.
And then cash offer in your house, that was the only phrase that was kind of red flaggy there.
Yeah.
It shut down the entire conversation.
Yeah.
So the carrier on one-offs, I mean, that's something that I hadn't seen before. I mean, I've seen it on blasting, when you send bulk, but one-offs, it's they're cranking down heavier on that kind of stuff. So if you're sending out text messages, talking to your sellers via text message because you don't want to pick up the phone and actually have that conversation, that's what's going to happen, right?
It was a manual text?
It was a manual text. Yeah, manual text, and it got shut down. The seller didn't receive it. We got a notification that the carrier blocked it because it had that. Yeah.
What?
Yep. So I mean, that was interesting. I hadn't seen that before.
And they'd already been talking.
Yeah, they had a thread going on, and because we had the phrase on there, cash offer on your house, as a follow-up conversation, right?
Incredible.
So pick up the phone and have conversations with people. Talk to humans.
Awesome.
Moral of the
Edwin
story.
wants to know how our fitness update is going.
Ooh,
yeah, looking great. What are you weighing?
170 on the dot.
Love it.
Yeah.
189 this morning.
Heck yeah.
189 this morning, completely nude. Boom.
Nice.
That's before breakfast and clothes and all that stuff. But there you go. Awesome. Well, congratulations, Edwin. It looks like you're doing some work in there. So where did that go, Matt? Did you just put this? There we go. Have an opportunity to present offer to an owner that's 55 plus community as is. Should I pursue?
Yes.
We do a lot of business there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We do a lot of business in 55 plus. What I will say is this, there's usually a couple nuances to 55 plus, especially if it's a big master plan community that you see here in Arizona and Florida. Some in the Midwest. Sometimes there's big association fees or capital fees of $2,500 to $5,000 that goes towards the clubhouse updates,
capital improvement fees.
Capital improvement. Yeah. So make sure that you really understand what is going on with the HOA, what are their costs, what's their regulations, all of those things. The other thing is make sure if it's 55 plus, and it's like a manufactured home community, make sure they own the land.
Yeah.
Okay. Because if they don't own the land, it's like flipping a car.
Look for the certificate of a fixture on those.
Right. Right.
So if you have a certificate of a fixture, it means that the mobile home is attached to the land underneath. It's part of the now it's real property.
Great question here. Salah. Hi guys. Do you have callbacks from dropping voicemails?
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, we do. Not all of them are pretty, but yeah, we do get callbacks from dropping voicemails. And it's not, we don't RVM, right? We don't RVM sellers, meaning we don't do ringless voicemails to sellers. But whenever we're calling, we do leave a voicemail behind. If it's a niche lead, like a pre-foreclosure lead, something that's a little bit on the hotter side as opposed to just a blank or a regular, absentee owner list.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Guys, we got Nicholas Nick here, leadminingpros.com. Nicholas, welcome to the Brent Daniels Real Estate Investing Live Show with Rafael Cortez. How are you?
What's up? What's up, guys? What's up, Rafael?
Yo, what's up, Nick? Good to see you, bro.
Yeah, you too.
7 million calls your company has made.
Bam, minimum.
Right?
Minimum, yeah.
So,
I'd say we do about 60,000 a week right now. So we're climbing.
Awesome.
Nice.
So talk about the way that you have it set up, because people literally buy packages of leads from you. It's almost like PPL, but for outbound calls.
Yeah. No,
right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's very, what's the word? Pay as you go, right?
Yeah.
Which I think is the PPL feel that it has, no contracts, no commitments. I often compare my product to a gallon of milk. I say, look, when you buy a gallon of milk from Walmart, they don't just start charging your credit card every month and shipping milk to your house. If you want more milk, you got to go back and get it. And that's kind of why I wanted to create my business to be exactly like this. You guys come and go as you please. Real estate investing isn't this weekend grind always with calling and texting. Sometimes it's quarterly. Sometimes it's seasonal. So here's some of the package Brent have up here. These are completely turnkey packages, completely done for you. And by that, it means that we can pull the list.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about, because we're talking about list pulling here, right?
Yeah,
Nicholas. And so what lists are you finding you have the best contact rate and the best lead rate from?
Yeah. So nationwide, if I was to give one answer, okay, and I'll give a couple, but if I was to give one answer nationwide, the best list is the absentee list.
Okay.
35% or greater equity is what we found. Some people, they want to get crazy, 80% or greater. We're starting to enter in like a free and clear territory. We're starting to enter higher stuff. And the other thing I like about 35% is data is going to be wrong. The mortgage company is going to report it wrong. They're going to be stored wrong in the cell. So in my opinion, the more we filter our data, the more we're inviting room for error of miscategorization of that data.
Got it. And so you've worked with people that live overseas. You've worked with people that live in the United States. What's the difference there?
Okay. So the foreign callers versus the American.
Yes.
And this is controversial. I actually just let my foreign team go last week.
Got it.
And I'll explain why. Well, I track the data. So I have this amazing cold calling operation. And by that, I don't mean our results, but the way I manage it. So I track all my cold callers, how many hours they work and how many leads they generate per hour. Okay. Very important. I say that my team is like an Olympic team. There's no one on the Olympic team that can't meet qualifications, right?
Right.
So no one on my team is going to be on the team unless they meet our qualifications. So I track that number. So I was looking at that number the other day, and I've been tracking it week to week with this new management training and development system I have in place. And even though I charge half the price for foreign callers that I do for Americans, they were performing at 1/6 to 1/4 of the rate, which means it's actually costing my customers 2 times more to spend half as much on the thing per lead, right? So when I saw that, as any business owner would, imagine you have a product that's hurting your customers that they think is helping them. And I was like, if my Americans can save you money, even while they're more expensive, consistent week over week by tracking this KPI, I'm doing you a disservice by having it on the website. So that literally just happened last week. Now, if you want, we can go into why. It's not just the accent, right? If you want me to go into why.
Yeah, I'd like to hear that.
Yeah. So there's a couple of things, right? So at its basis, what I tell my clients is, look, the foreign person, they're going to read the script. Okay. They're going to read it. They're going to ask the questions, and they're going to sound like they're speaking perfect English. But are they going to know the words that are coming out of their mouth? And I think that's one of the big differences, right? They really don't know the language. Brent, on our podcast the other day, I think we brought up that when someone says yes to you in super clear English, you for some reason think that they really understand what you just said. And foreign employees in general will often be like, yes, sir. Yes, sir. And that yes, sir comes out, and that's their best English phrase out of all English phrases is yes, sir. So we think, well, yeah, they got it, right? And the truth is they don't got it. And it's not a knock. It's because they don't live here. They literally couldn't be further. It's a 23-hour flight to those guys, right? They couldn't be, that's a day. They're a day away. So that distance causes it. That's number one. Number two is adaptation, right? Our American callers, they're American. You know, I always joke and I said, yeah, I would let a Filipino work for me that have to come sit in an American bar for 6 months before I let them go on the dialer. And it's because of that banter. It's because of that. When someone pushes back, I'll tell you, when someone throws a jab at you and they can tell the foreign person doesn't know what they just said, or it's like a computational breakdown, they're out right away. I teach my team to play with the leads. You know, if they throw a jab, feel free to throw a soft jab right back, or, you know, feel free to have fun with them. Nothing abrasive, but show them because that's their language. If someone's aggressive with you, you'd be surprised how often they respond to a little bit of that energy. But look at Raphael's. I was like, yeah, we've been there.
Yeah. Well, critical thinking skills there as well. Understanding the area, understanding, whatever, the restaurants, the movie theaters, the attractions that are going on in that area, in that town, and all of those things matter. You know, when I would get on the phone and making the calls myself, I would always bring something up about the area that they live in. Oh, I took my dog to get groomed over there, or the flower shop over there is where, I bought my mom's birthday flowers, or whatever else. And then all of a sudden you've got this really good, you kind of melt that force field, and they're not as quick to just reject you or throw you off the phone. And that takes expertise. That takes some real finesse for sure.
Right. And, and I think what we do is, go ahead. I'm sorry about that.
No, I was saying that you level out with them at that point. Yeah.
Yeah. There's, what we don't realize is the rapport loss. So I used to be a restaurant manager, and one of the biggest things I could live by, and everyone please steal this, is deposits and withdrawals, right? By its natural nature, leadership is a withdrawal by its nature. Hey, I need you to do this, withdrawal. Hey, you did it wrong, withdrawal. Hey, withdrawal. It's like we're constantly draining our employees. So when I was a restaurant manager, I can't have a bunch of grumpy ass employees running around. So I had to figure out these really fun ways to communicate with them and make deposits along the way. And I'm going on this tangent because having that American versus the foreign caller is a deposit that even we don't even. They pick up the phone, they go, oh, you can already tell. When someone calls me, I'm like, oh, thank God. Oh, thank God they're American. Oh, yeah. You're almost you don't even realize it's a deposit. So having the foreign person on there is a bit of a withdrawal, and your industry matters. So like land, for example, no person that owns 5 acres of land is going to talk to a Filipino and think that they're going to buy it. Right. And that's not a knock on anything. It's just it's a rapport loss. And and I've got some of the data to back that up too.
Let me ask you this. Two big things. Number one, AI callers. You can call 30,000 numbers in 1 second and do all that. And inevitably that'll be shut down. It's literally robo dialing. But are you seeing that? Are you seeing that being talked about more with the people that you're working with?
No, I really don't. And I think I think it comes with the price, right? AI, and that AI price tag is just going to be going up. So I think it comes with the price. And I think, it is robo dialing. And I did hear in the most recent TCPA Act, they did classify it as robo dialing. So it is officially illegal. Now there's a big difference between illegal and enforcement. Right? We all know that, right? It's one thing they throw you in jail for, another thing if they're not searching you ever, okay? Now, I think what's going to happen is we're going to ignore their legislation, then we're going to do it anyways, and then they're just going to crush it, right? Just like texting and everything else. So, and
that was my second question.
Yeah. How long is it going to be around for, And it's funny, I'm not a very scarce person, and that's hard as an entrepreneur. Right. It really is. We got everything riding on this. None of us ever want to go back to work. Okay.
Right.
I'm fighting that 9-to-5 job every day. But, when I was literally thinking about my business in bed the other day, especially comparing these KPIs and these statistics. And I was like, I'm so thankful I never let the AI calling scare me. Or that I made a huge pivot. What if I made a huge pivot and I was like, all the Americans are fired. I'm going to save a fortune. I'm going to put AI, even like our text messaging is not auto responded. I have a person. That's how I like to do it. I want to put the critical thinking on. I'm a premium service. I don't just want to blast it out,
Yeah, guys, listen, if you're going to build a long-lasting business that's going to just pay for all of the things that you want, the lifestyle that you want, the assets that you want, the freedom that you want, the control that you want, if you put all your eggs in the basket of something that's going to be short-lived, I can't tell you how many people are out of this business that you and I know they did very well 3-4 years ago. You as well, Nick. I'm sure that you know these the same people that went real heavy into I forget what the platform was with text messaging, and they were sending out unbelievable amounts of text and getting all these deals, and they were teaching it for 10 grand
launch
apart.
control.
And no, it wasn't even launch control. It's called something else. It was what was it? Roar. Yeah, Roar. And now they're out of the business. They're literally out of the business. There was no pivot there. There was just a strike while the iron's hot, go while it's available. And then when regulations come in or when the carriers catch on to it and you can't do it anymore, they tried to pivot to other things. They didn't have their systems in place. And now they're, selling on solar.
You got to have a backbone marketing, method that's tried and tested, right? That's worked through the ages, that's seen the highs, the lows, and it still works. And then you can bolt on experimental things, I think.
Yep.
Right. If you want to try AI while it's out there, fine, but don't stop the stuff that works.
I'm
it's
telling
been
you.
working for the last,
you go on TikTok right now, you will see a sea of people doing the AI calls and then doing the live lead call follow up and all that. It is bananas. It is absolutely bananas. And it's the longer you stay in this business, the more you understand that the quick money it really torpedoes really good entrepreneurs because it leads to bad skills. And when you have bad skills or undeveloped skills, that's what crushes people. And that's a lot of entrepreneurs, especially in this market, in this economy, just staying in the game is going to keep you in a nice spot for when everything else goes. And then being profitable on top of that, because you got real business practices. That's what makes people millionaires.
I mean, right now, go back, to the Cowboy Closer earlier, right? Like he has that steadiness, that cadence in the business. He understands what he's good at. He's good at, locking up the deals, and then he'll cherry pick opportunity when it comes along. But you have to have that meter process. If you go into cold calling or dialing, you edify that and you build it as your cornerstone of the business, and you bolt on stuff that might work at times, and those are spikes, but the consistency is really brought on by the stuff that's worked through the years.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I'm getting an epiphany right now about a secret department that we don't give enough credit to, and that's R&D, right? Yep. And it's like, we can't just dive all in. We have to respect that this is R&D, right? We're dipping our toe in. We're not going, I had a guy, he hired us. It was land. He got 23 leads for $500. And he called me. He's been doing direct mail for 20 years. He's been a land investor for 20 years. He called me up. He goes, Nick, a lot of leads, but I'm not calling these people. Huh? I haven't called someone for 25 years. Well, I'm going to start calling people now. And a good point of R&D, if he actually this is a true story, I swear to you. I'm just going to keep sending mail. I don't care if they're 10 times more expensive. And again, that is totally his decision. But if we knew, hey, you know what? Mail is starting to work less over here. And like you said, the only thing he can do if he refuses to adapt is to stop. Right? That's it. Yep. So I think that's another important part is, even if you have something that's working, don't go to that. That doesn't mean, they say water settles at the lowest point. Don't do that to yourself. Make sure you're always refining that skill. And you know what? I'll be honest with you. The harder leads, the better your systems are. This is one reason I love calling and texting. I tell everyone to get these ugly leads, right? And the reason why I call them ugly is direct mail. They're either FU or yes, right? Cold calling, I say, is everything maybe plus, right? Anyone who hesitates. So we ask people, have you ever considered selling? If they go, no. Oh, are you sure? Are you sure? It certainly sounds like you've considered selling before, and so as we get that maybe plus lead. And when you can close maybe plus leads, you can close any lead. And I think people, they go, hey, I only want the one that says 50 cents on the dollar on the first phone call, right? And,
we don't even pay attention to the price.
right.
They tell us a price. We don't care. We're setting an appointment.
Right. Yeah.
We're setting an appointment. What dialer do you like?
My favorite for Chris here, number one, I think if you're a solopreneur, okay, if you're doing a party of one, I think the easiest, best interface is Mojo Dialer. That's right. That's where I cut my teeth on. It's very simple. And then if you have a team, I personally use Call Tools, but I'll warn you, it's technical. I mean, I feel like I'm like, I feel like I'm using Photoshop sometimes using Call Tools, but when you get it figured out, but that's meant for agents. I've got like 15 agents, so it's a little different for me, but big team, Call Tools, army of one, maybe 2 to 3, I'd go Mojo just for simplicity.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Nick, thank you for being on here, guys. Leadminingpros.com, leadminingpros.com. Check it out. I think it's a great price point if you don't have the time, but you have a little bit of a budget and you don't have that like $2,000 a month that you can spend on pay per lead. This is a nice place to start getting some leads coming in and finding some good opportunities so that you can get on the phone with people that have already said that they would consider an offer on their property and take it from there. So thanks for joining us, brother.
Absolutely. And then also your coupon code as well. If for everyone to get a bonus, we got a coupon code just for you guys. Use code TTP. And you'll save $1 on your order, and I'll give you 10% more of everything you buy. So if you buy one of the packages, 10% more of everything there. That's code TTP on the website.
Nice.
Awesome.
Rock and roll.
Good
Thank you guys so much.
Good to see you, brother.
You too, Rafael.
Here's the absolute facts. Get the ability to find discounted properties. Like build that skill, and everything else comes from that. Everything else comes from that. You know what I mean? If you're just getting started out and you're trying to like get through and not pay the stupid tax, go and assign some contracts. Find the deals, assign the contracts, build the relationships, and then all of a sudden, all those other things that you want to do become so much easier. And I want to go back to this because I think that this is really important. When we're creating custom blueprints in the Rhino Tribe, Raf, is we look at your experience level, your schedule, your market, and your budget. Okay. And this is what's really, just make this full screen, Matt, for just a second, just so that it's a little bit bigger for everybody. I don't know if it will go bigger. Anyway, guys, I think direct mail, if you're really smart about it and you can answer those calls live, is a great strategy for anybody. It doesn't matter if you're part-time, you have no money and you're new. That's what the left-hand side, guys. PT is part-time, FT is full-time. And if you don't have a lot of money, postcards are 50 cents, 56 cents or whatever.
Yeah.
You go to DealMachine, you get the DealMachine app, you download it, and you can set up automatic mail to go out to all the ugliest properties. Send out 50, send out 100, spend, $25-50 a month sending those out. Is it going to take a lot of those to go? Sure. It just depends on your market. I find that direct mail in the smaller markets absolutely crushes.
Yeah,
What do you think?
No, I agree. I think it's one of those things that has to be niched out. Either the volume of the list, right, it's more dialed in, or the market itself is just one of those markets that's hard to tap, right?
Yeah.
Like smaller markets also have less than accurate data. Like the phone numbers are usually not as accurate as bigger markets, and for example Maricopa County, right, we're really good when it comes to data from for real estate markets and finding out seller information and that sort of thing. When you go to smaller markets, like for example Yuma, it's a lot harder to find phone numbers and stuff like that, so your list is going to be less efficient. So yeah, absolutely, like it works.
Referrals, guys, every single day you should be posting to your stories, I buy houses, and putting your phone number.
Yeah.
Every single day, I buy houses, post it to your stories, and then go into all the different real estate groups, all the realtor groups, all the investing groups, all of that. You type in real estate Phoenix, go into those groups, friend request as many people as possible till you get to 5,000, and then post to your stories every day. I buy houses. I am telling you, you're going to do an extra few deals every year just from that.
You know, a very wise person a few years ago told me to be loud.
Yeah.
You remember that?
That's it.
You were the wise person.
You got to be loud.
And I'm telling you, the when I started getting louder about the stuff that I was doing, everything changed.
Oh, for
the
sure.
Deal flow changed. I mean, everything.
Yeah, you can't just hide and well, I'm just getting started and I'm a teacher, I'm in the military, I'm a fireman, I'm a nurse, I'm a doctor, I'm an attorney, I'm all these label. Great. Put the label of you're a real estate investor.
Yeah. There you go.
How about that?
There you go.
I'm only 17. So I'm I don't even own my own house and I'm 28. So like what are we doing here? Unless you believe it, it's not going to happen. You know what I mean? And so be loud, and that's how you build up your referral there. And then if you don't have a tremendous budget and you're part-time, you either have to call or text. Yeah. And I think calling is going to be the way. As texting is getting, the carriers are just getting, they're blocking it.
I mean, and it's not that difficult, right? I feel like, most of the battle there is 80% is going to be fear, just fear of rejection, fear of not knowing what we're doing, fear of being inadequate when we hit the phones and stuff like that. But it's not that difficult to pull a list, right? And get a power dialer and sit on that thing for, 2-3 hours a day and start pounding out opportunities, because that's what those are.
Yeah. And then they call you up. Micah Nichols just texted me. Good. He's going to be on at 5 after, Matt. Perfect. And then you call them up and then they go, well, how much will you give me? And then boom. Oh boy, here we go. This is how you make quick offers, or at least get an idea of what the price range is. If the price you Google the address right there, the first thing that's going to pop up is either Redfin or Zillow. Yeah. You look at the Zestimate, the estimated value, and then if it's in rough shape, guys, you don't throw these out if it's pristine. You don't throw this out if it's perfect. You don't throw this out if they start telling you all about their upgrades. You start throwing this out when you look at that property on Google Maps, or you're talking to them and it looks like the property has not been touched in years.
Yeah.
You throw out 50 if it's 50%, if it's over 250,000, if it's between 250,000 and 100, it's 35. And if it's 100,000 or less, it is 10%. That's how you throw it out. And you don't go, oh, well, listen, Raphael, I can offer you 175,000, right? You don't do that. You set the appointment, or you build a little bit more rapport and you take some time. But if they're really pressuring you, or if you just want to filter out the people that are just kicking tires and the people that are real serious, you say, listen, I'm just online right now. I'm looking around at properties in similar conditions, similar size to yours, and it looks like they're selling for around 175,000. Is that what you were thinking?
Yeah. I mean, that's a great way to approach it too. One other thing that we do as well is we'll just create a broad range.
Yeah.
Right. So
I like those shoes.
We don't. Thank you. I'm trying to step up my Nike.
Well, you're starting to go Nike.
Yeah. How do you like them apples?
Jeez Louise.
But you create a
range.
Pop
that shoe off. Show them.
You create a range of the offer that you're working through. Are you guys ready for this?
Oh, clean. Roth always has clean white shoes.
Can't go wrong.
You want to see my space age today? We've got the Mr. Alexander McQueen's. Hey-o! In your face. There you go.
I'm not there yet.
I know.
I'm not there. I'm still at the Nike level.
I felt fancy this morning. I don't know.
I mean, I was doing Chucks last week, so I feel like I'm moving up in life.
Yeah, I love it. So guys, throw that out to pull out the price. Obviously, I want you to get the price out of the property owners as much as possible, because the absolute best deals, and I think you'll agree with me here, is the best deals. The seller tells us the price first.
Yeah.
They go, listen, you give me this price, it's yours.
Yeah.
When they say stuff like that, you are, woo. That is those are the absolute best deals. You come over and you give me 240,000 for this property. You give me 40,000. You give me 108,000, and it's yours.
Now understand too that the first price is never the price.
Right.
When they give you the price, I mean, it's a starting point, right? But there's always room to wiggle. Like you're never gonna, start the negotiation at your bottom number. Sellers do the same thing to us. But yeah, when they start volunteering numbers, that's when you have somebody who's motivated and it's a lot closer.
Yes,
to
Brandon.
that.
When I wear the most expensive shoes in my closet, I'm going to show them. It's my show. I can do what I want.
There you go.
Love you, Brandon. Brandon's the best. Listen, we got a couple questions here, but I wanted to go through the fix and flip repair calculator before we get Micah Nichols on the show. He owns US Lead List. It is the #1 list being used right now in the Rhino tribe for finding great deals. It's pre-probate stuff, so it's awesome.
Nice.
Fix and flip calculator here, guys. If you're in a market where the average median sale price is like kind of between that $400,000 and $500,000, I think that you can do a lot of damage with just $35 to $40 a square foot if it needs like a cosmetic, and then add 10 to 15,000 each main item. It needs a new boiler, it needs a new air conditioning, it needs a new roof, it needs new pool surfacing or pool equipment, it needs the basement needs renovation, it's been flooded, or whatever else, you know what I mean? Yeah. Add 10 to 15 for any major. But this calculator usually works pretty well when you're sharpening your pencil on what your offer is going to be. And remember this, guys, and this is really important. Matt, do you have, I'll just do it on the board real quick. Let's go over here, guys. If you are pulling the inventory in an area, right, and there is 3 months of inventory plus, you want to be at that 70% minus repairs, minus your wholesale fee. Okay, that's where the cash buyers we're seeing are looking, and especially here, because what's happening is they're giving 3% for concessions now. Are you seeing this, Raph?
Yeah.
We've seen, we went from 25 to 20 on average the last 45, 60 days because of this.
Yeah.
This is what we're finding.
In some markets, we're even going deeper than that. But yeah, it's major stuff. Major markets, we're still seeing that. Yeah.
We're going 10 to 15% profit and this is for flips. You got 6%. That's going to be the closing cost and some agent fees are going to be built in there. And so that 30% gets eaten up pretty quick. I know that doesn't add up to 30%, but they build in a little the hard money costs as well.
And holding costs as well.
Yeah, that's and insurance, utilities, all those things are in this 30%. And that's what people are looking for. If it's 3 months plus of inventory, if it is less than 3 months, if it's 3 months, if it's like, we'll do this. If it's 1 to 2 months, you can push this. I was going 80%. Now I would go either 77% or 75% on your offers because of these concessions and longer hold time. Yeah. But we'll see. This is the exciting thing about the world of real estate, because guess what? Interest rates are now in the 6s, some in the 5s for adjustable rates. Most people don't go with adjustable rates. But this was 8. Yeah. This was those upper 7s, 8. So now that's coming down a little bit, but the more doom and gloom, the more Japan wants to screw around and screw up the stock market, the more people get a little bit nervous.
Yeah, freak out.
So be real conservative on your numbers. I want you to go deep. I want this to be the reason I love markets like this, Raph, is this is where we build our really good negotiating skills. Ooh, this is when we really anchor low. This is when we really find those really good deals. This is what makes the real pros stand out from the amateurs.
Do you remember back in 2012 when we had to go to all those appointments and we didn't have all the resources? And
yes.
All the the stuff. It was just belly to belly conversations.
And nobody wanted to buy the deals.
And yeah, exactly. You would have
so you had to get it.
You had to get like dirt cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that kind of, you cut your teeth in moments like this, right?
Yep.
It's not that the market is gone or the vertical is gone. It's just that we just have to get better at what we're doing. And if you're, half-assing it and side gigging it, for the time being,
Yep.
Your skill set is not going to improve. And what happens? Everybody else is going to run you over. That's all.
Here we go. Deck 78 Boston. I have access to a list of homeowners who have very recently passed away. How would you market to their family members if you were in my shoes? This is the perfect lead in to Micah Nichols, who's going to be coming up here pretty soon,
Nice.
in about 5 minutes, because he is the master at marketing to these this exact segment of the population, right? The people that have just inherited a property and are dealing with the passing of a loved one or unloved one, who knows, somebody that they know that loved them enough to give them
There's all kinds of
assets,
stories, Brent.
right? Yeah, I know.
know.
So stick around for that. For us, it is a combination of calls and text messaging, but for the most part it was calls, and I think that we might get into some direct mail here. The more that I talk to Micah, the more it seems like that's a really, really, really good strategy for these property owners, because now they're reaching out to you. You're not, catching them on the phone and they're kind of like, on their back foot. They're reaching out to you when the time's right, when they feel comfortable being able to do that. So on
those, so I tackle those in a I guess a different way, but we have boots on the ground in most of these places.
Yep.
So we'll do a home visit, and granted, right, the person passed and whatnot, but there might be somebody there who can connect. You may be able to talk to the neighbor, and the neighbor's going to tell you, talk to the daughter. She's in college, here's her number, right? So you have to play detective, I feel, on a lot of those things. Another thing that you can tap into is Spokio.
Mhm.
Spokio has next of kin information on there. So Spokio.com. And it'll tell you like who's related to the owner of that property. It'll give you social media, handles and stuff like that. So it's really good. It's a really good resource, especially because if you skip trade this property, you're going to get the dead person's number, right? As opposed to the person who's inheriting the property. So, I mean, that's worked for us in the past. So hitting the doors, sending direct mail to it, so they see it in the mail whenever they check the mail, and the opportunity's there.
Awesome. Spokio right there, guys. Spokio.com. Check that out. So you're going in here to find all of the connections, right?
Yeah.
Is it pretty expensive?
No, they have a plan that's like $50 a month or something
What?
like that. Yeah, and it'll give you basic information. If you want
I'm gonna write
deeper,
this down.
if you want a deeper, search, you can pay for it. But it'll give you phone numbers of next of kins and whatever you can find. And we've closed deals because we found next of kin members on this thing.
Awesome,
So,
guys. Check that out.
yeah.
Spokio.com. There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Boom. We're going to stop sharing that. We're going to get back to some questions here. But before we do, hey-yo, Howard Wildly closed my first deal on August 2nd, $10,000 profit. Just locked up my second, and partnering with a friend. We are doing an ovation. Going to be insane. Damn. My man, that is awesome, Howard. Congratulations.
Let's go.
Keep that money, keep that momentum, find some more opportunities, head down, don't lose your mind, and keep finding some big deals. Absolutely. Congratulations. That's awesome. We have another question here. This is DF. How would you guys recommend going about finding a wholesale friendly title company?
Hit meetups first of all.
Yep.
Like that's they put them together.
Yeah.
Usually, if they're investor friendly, they're usually putting together meetups in town. So do that. I mean, that would be my first stop. Hit meetups. Social media is actually really good for getting referrals for title companies as well.
Yeah, I love the idea of meeting them face to face and seeing who the rep is with the title company. So meetup.com, guys, meetup.com. You can go there. You can go to Bigger Pockets. They have a bunch of meetups. Big shakeup in Bigger Pockets recently. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, I wasn't following it.
I don't know.
No.
Well, they're switching up their hosts for everything,
Oh,
and
okay.
they're kind of, who knows? I mean, it's a big corporation now, so
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
We were just at a meetup when was it, last week?
Yeah.
With a
Zach
title
Keeps.
company, and Zach Keeps actually
Yeah.
put it together, partnering with the title company. So if you want investor friendly people, like, you're gonna find them at meetups.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. The question here is, Brent, would your contracts work? The agreements can be approved in Oregon. Yeah, no, within a few tweaks if needed in Oregon. Yeah, the best thing is use a purchase agreement and turn it into the title company and say, hey, do I need to add anything here? Can you guys use this, or a closing attorney or whatever else? If you could reach out, a great suggestion of going to the meetups, meeting the title company, ask them for which purchase agreement they prefer. Oftentimes they'll probably tell you the realtor one, because that's the one that they have the most reps with. But I would just ask for, just a simple wholesaling contract or a simple purchase agreement. And they'll be able to hook you up for sure.
When I was building the power team on all these different markets, we would go to them and tell them, hey, listen, I'm doing a lot of marketing in the area. I think we're going to open up escrows and send them over to you guys. I want to send you my contract. Can you let me know if there's anything else that I need to add to it? And so we just have all the bases covered. And I had actually a couple of companies that came back and they added some riders to the contract. So whatever was in, made it compliant.
Yeah.
But they would push it over to their legal. That way they didn't have to pay for an attorney. I mean, they would run it through it.
Yep.
And then, you have a beefed up contract. But yeah, again, on those, lean into the power team, right? Which is the title company is going to be right at the top.
Yeah. And guys, make sure that if you are doing this part-time, there's a question, how long did it take to get your first deal by cold calling baller in the house?
Damn.
Yeah, it's going to be different for everybody, right? It's going to be different based on your skill level. It's going to be different based on which list you're calling. It's going to be different based on how consistent you are on calling. It's going to be based on, pretty much it. Pretty much skills and reps, and market. You're gonna call a lot more people in Phoenix than you would call in Yuma.
Yeah.
Or Phoenix versus San Antonio or something like that. It's going to be a little bit different there. So test it, but typically it's about 20 hours per deal. 20 hours of consistently calling per deal. And so make sure that you just understand that, because you can usually talk to about 10 people per hour. And if you're using a dialer, and with that, you have to talk to usually 200 people to get a deal. So that's the number that I want you to have in your mind, is about 200 per deal. And so go after it. And obviously don't go fishing in the desert. Go where there are a lot of fish. 6 to 10% of the real estate market is in distress at all times.
It's a big number, man.
So it's a huge number.
And it's getting bigger.
143 million. Oh,
it's getting bigger. We're seeing it on the foreclosure side.
Yeah. Are you?
Yeah.
What are you seeing?
We're just seeing more foreclosures come in on a daily basis. Even here in this.
You think it's people that have tried to do the loan mods and come
back?
A
lot of them are end up being repeat offenders.
Mm-hmm.
We call them repeat offenders, right?
Yeah.
but yeah, they did a loan mod. They tried to do something about it, and then just went back right back into the cycle.
Yeah.
I mean, old habits die hard, right? So
yep.
So yeah,
this is the perfect part-time schedule here. 15 for 20 hours. You got to find 20 hours, guys. There's 168 hours in a week. 168 hours. I was listening to a podcast and they were breaking down how much of our month, how many hours a month we're doing laundry, how many hours a month we're, what was it? Laundry, yard work, cleaning the house, all the, cooking. Cooking was like 20 hours a month, or 25 or 40 hours a month, or something ridiculous, right? You know what I mean? And it reminded me of what Jerry Norton was talking about. And Jerry has some genius ideas. And he was saying, who would be your first person that you hire? And he said a landscaper and a house cleaner. And I was like, what? And he goes, yeah, because I mean, it frees up so much of your time that you could pour more into your business, which means it's more profitability in your business because you're doing the work, not somebody else. You're not stopping to train them and all these other things. So I mean, it's like, do you do your own landscaping?
No.
Do you have a house cleaner come by?
Yeah.
Do you guys buy or have Uber Eats or have like meals prepped or any?
No, we don't order stuff. Odette loves cooking.
Yeah,
That's her
she's
thing.
a phenomenal cook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But everything else, I mean, we get help, right? Like the thing is to maximize your time, and what's your highest and best. Like our highest and best is really not,
That's what I say as an
your ass
entrepreneur.
and
Rent a room from
Yeah.
somebody, live at your parents' basement, live in
Yeah.
your parents' house. Like, don't have any other things stopping you from going out and providing value to the marketplace. You're going to go faster. You're going to have better reps. And it comes back to this right here. All problems are solvable with skills, and skills are all attainable with repetition and feedback.
Yeah.
It's the absolute truth. You guys ready?
facts.
Strap in. We've got the incredible, the owner of US Lead List, Micah Nichols.
Thanks for having me. How you doing?
Hey.
Doing fantastic. Where are you at right now?
I'm in Wisconsin, keeping the Midwest cool.
I love it. You are keeping it cool.
That's right. I try.
That is awesome. So the question is, what is the best way to reach out to probate, inherited, and pre-probate and the US Lead List and all of those lists so that one, we feel comfortable in those conversations. We don't feel like sharks. And two, should we call them? Should we mail them? What do you think is the best strategy there?
Yeah. So in my business, it's a two-pronged approach. Direct mail has consistently been the highest ROI of those two channels. We used to text. We don't do it anymore. I call a small segment of the list. If there's a surviving spouse, we call them. And as far as best way to reach out, what I recommend, I'm tasteful. I love humans. I totally get that people lost something that's irreplaceable. And so I'm super sensitive and I care and I am targeting them, but I don't talk about it. I don't bring it up. If they bring it up to me and they're frustrated, I just apologize for their loss. I mean, what else can you do if you actually think about the circumstance they're in? Like they lost something or someone that they love and they're never going to get it back. Yeah. So yeah, as far as calls go, I love your script. Just like, hey, I know this is out of the blue, but I'm an investor and I'm curious if you're thinking about selling your property. That's almost like that's how I coach all of our guys who are making calls to introduce themselves. And same with the letters that we're sending. It's simple, easy, and be as approachable as possible. And then, if death comes up, respond to it. Don't be blind. Don't brush over it. That's how you get to create just the most firm rapport that you can is by like letting them know you're a human and you care about their emotions. That's what I do. That's what I think.
Michael, what's your average response time on direct mail for that type of lead?
When you say time, do you mean like expand on that a little?
So when you send out, for example, a marketing, just a direct mail campaign, I mean, does it take a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, 2 days?
So yeah, when I'm doing direct mail, I always use first class handling for a couple of reasons. First is it shortens the lead time in which they call you back. The USPS just delivers it faster. It's like on average 2 to 3 days. It used to be 2, but UPS are slacking, man. And so I always put stuff in the mail on Friday because I want to get calls Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and keep my guys, pipelines full dealing with that the rest of the week.
Guys, write this down. Take notes. First class, and you send it out on Fridays.
Yeah. And then the other reason why you send it first class is that you need, especially in pre-probate, to have those letters be forwarded. If you use bulk mail, if you use cheap mail, and it's cost less, but they won't forward that mail to the next person who's potentially acting on behalf of that estate. And so if you don't have that connection, if you're not paying for that, they'll just literally throw it away, and it's full on wasted marketing dollars there. So spend a little extra, get the calls back faster, get it forward, and then they do one other thing for you, and they send the mail back to you if there's no one to get it. From there, like I've got one right here. On this, it says vacant. Oh, I'll get you over. It says vacant. If someone passed away and they're vacant, like the property's vacant, what's the likelihood of that property selling? Like pretty good. It's worth spending a little more time going a mile deep on these ones so you can be the only person talking to them, because they just sent the main way for me to get a hold of them back to me. So no one else can talk to them. No one else can get a hold of this person. So I got to go find them. And that's where the real deals on this list are.
By the way, guys, you can get a
It's huge.
digital
Thank you.
mailbox if you don't have a physical mailbox. If you don't, typically you don't want these going back to your house. You want them either going back to your office, a PO box, something like that, or you can get a digital address where they just scan everything in and send it to you, which is really interesting. And that way you can really dive deep, go into Spokio, get the relatives' phone numbers, see what's going on, see if you can reach out to them. If the letters aren't going to be able to be delivered, or find somewhere else where they can be delivered. Yeah, we gotta get a hold of them one way or another. And if the mail's not getting to them, it's we got to go through the window if the door's closed. So Micah, with the do you find it easier having conversations when they're calling you versus when you're reaching out to them?
There's no way to mince it. Inbound is so much better.
Yeah.
They're responding to something that I put out there rather than having to respond to what I'm like, putting them on the spot, having them make a bunch of little micro decisions in our conversation. And so, yeah, I really prefer inbound if I had a choice.
And so with mail, are you answering those calls live?
Are we perfect? No. But I would say we're 90% live. I want to take those calls. You know, when I first started marketing to this list, I would just send them all to a voicemail. I'd listen to it, call back. Yeah. But you know, this business, and as you evolve, it's all about, you know, finding leaks and trying to seal them up by better practices, better systems. And I was missing people. I'd call them back. I'd never get a hold. They just full on ghost me. And so we started taking everything live, or pushing for that. And that has helped our just, you know, bottom line, our revenue.
Yeah. It's, you know, with the marketing, it is, you're spending the money at the top of the funnel to get responses. But then are you actually having conversations? Are they contacted responses? Because if they call you and you don't answer, now you're on chase mode. You know what I mean? You answer that live, you're going to have that 90+% contacted rate that makes all the difference in the world. And I'm telling you this from just experience with all the PPC leads that we've gotten, and PPL leads, and even direct mail. If you don't respond instantly, they're gone. The likelihood that you're going to get them back on the phone is so much smaller.
They're clicking
so
around,
much smaller. Right. And you're not the only one that's mailing to them. You're not the only one reaching out to them. You're not the only one that knows that they're inheriting a property, and they'll just move on down the line, or they'll just be like, they didn't answer. I'm going to put this in the back burner for a while. And that's usually what it is. It's usually not, at least when it comes to direct mail, in my experience, they're like, well, yeah, I was thinking about it, but I just, I rethought it. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's almost like buyer's or seller's remorse if you don't answer, which is really, really interesting. So
you say it all the time. Time kills all deals.
That's it.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Strike that while it's hot.
Answer those calls live. Do you have an active list, Micah, that people can check out of which markets you have available? Because you only allow a certain amount of licenses in each one of those markets, or customers in each market. Is there an active list that you got somewhere, or should people just sign up with you or go to US Leads list and see if it's available?
You know, you just gave me a great idea. Like, I don't know why I don't just put that on my website. Like, why shouldn't it live there? Like, that's one of the first things that we do when we call.
All I'm asking for, Micah.
I know. I'll do it. I'll do it. It's done. It's done. Yeah. But yeah, if I can drop a link and give it to you in the show notes here, so people can check and just see it's live. It kind of moves around as people come in and out of areas. But absolutely,
awesome.
It's awesome.
Any other questions for Micah?
No, I'm solid. I mean, the golden nuggets right there on direct mail campaigns are huge.
Yeah, my only concern for Micah is he needs to watch his overhead with all that spending he's putting into those neon signs that he keeps
Yeah.
buying. I mean, those are just
Dude,
geez,
What is
Louise,
behind
dude.
you got like the galaxy behind you. You got like what? Is that Saturn? I don't even know.
He's not wrong. You do have a galaxy right behind you, Brent.
Oh, geez, Micah, stop improving your office there. Like, buy some assets, would you? Jeez, Louise. Micah, you're the best. Thank you for being on here. Love you, bud. US Lead List, guys, usleadlist.com. Check it out and find out if your market is available. It is a no-brainer. It's not a recommendation. It is, again, a prescription. Go do it. Stop messing around. Thanks, Micah, for jumping in here, bud.
Good to see you, brother.
Yeah, absolutely. Have a good day, guys.
Awesome. That is it. I think that we got through all of the questions. We had an awesome show.
Heck yeah.
What are you closing this week?
Yeah.
Is it an exciting week?
Actually, this one is a little tight. We had to drop a deal on Monday that we were closing this week.
Oh,
So yeah, but we do have a healthy pipeline. I
Yep.
think we have 11 deals on the burner to close over the next couple of weeks.
I got some flips that are going live, which should be interesting. I'm like, oh,
I have $1 million flip right now. That's yeah. Okay, we need to get that done quicker.
right?
Yeah, I mean, it
Yeah.
makes me remember why I love wholesaling so much.
I'm telling you, it's the best business ever. Awesome. Well, come on in, guys. Matt, great job on the show. Put me on the lapel if you don't mind. Guys, thank you for joining us. Every Wednesday, we go live at 1 o'clock Eastern, 10 o'clock Pacific until the times change. And then, I don't know, we'll tell you when it is. Matt Hill, Luke over here, Lukey, Video Lukey here is in the house. Rafael Cortez, myself. Guys, if you need some resources, wholesalinginc.com. If you're interested in the absolute highest performing pay-per-click company that can help you find the best intent leads, go to talktopeople.com. Where can people find you, Raf?
Social, Rafael Cortez, CEO. So I'm pretty active there.
There you go, guys. Take a picture, send it to us. If you watch the show, I'd love to repost that on our Instagram. We love you guys. Remember, keep your house clean, protect your health, and increase your value to the world, and you'll live an incredible life. Love you guys. See you next week.